Shmai guys and girls, JonnyVR here with another big finish review. I'm going to be reviewing Torchwood Aliens Among Us parts 1 to 3. This is a set that I've wanted to listen to, so when it recently went on sale, I had to get it. This will be spoiler free, I will just be giving my thoughts on it and what you can expect. If you like this video, make sure you click like and subscribe for more content, and with Time Lord Victorious fast approaching, stay tuned with more reviews for those products. And check out my playlist where I've been going through the cheapest way to experience the story. The first thing you need to know, and arguably the main selling point of this box set, was the fact that it takes place after the events of Miracle Day, and I was excited at the prospect of this. However, despite being marketed as the story of Torchwood beyond the events of Miracle Day, I think that they could have found some more ways to acknowledge this in the writing. It is clear that the events do take place after Miracle Day, but you can only really tell from where the main characters find themselves during their personal lives. Though this does mean that the Aliens Among Us story arc takes the centre stage, some sort of mention of Miracle Day, and specifically the character of Rex and what became of him, would have really cemented it as post-Miracle Day, and would help justify it being marketed in this way. For the most part, it is concerned with its own story. Moving on to the actual Aliens Among Us story arc, what I found about these box sets is that they capture the feel of Torchwood incredibly well. In a way, it feels more like Series 1 and Series 2 of Torchwood, in the sense that it is set in Cardiff more permanently. Each episode of the box sets can explore a different aspect of life in Cardiff, and the city is at the heart of the box set like it was in earlier seasons of Torchwood. Blair Mowat's music score for this series is good, but I found it quite repetitive throughout the first two box sets. However, box set 3 features more variety in its music, and I think this is in part due to the situations, settings and characters making it easier to have a diverse soundtrack. Having captured the feel of Torchwood, at the same time the story isn't afraid to change things and do new things. For example, the addition of some interesting new characters. Their introduction is natural, and since the box set goes back to Cardiff, as in early Torchwood, these characters find out that Torchwood is 24/7. And this is used to great effect to really develop these characters well, even in the space of the first 4 episodes. Another thing is that even in the first box set, certain plot points occur in this box set that are quite significant for certain characters. So significant that it feels like a genuine continuation of Torchwood, but if by some miracle Torchwood or its characters returned to the screen and contradicted these developments, the canon of this box set would be called into question by default. The Aliens Among Us story arc is entertaining, and it's written in a way that each episode in the box sets are naturally very well connected, as in Children of Earth and Miracle Day, but at the same time varied enough that each episode feels quite different, like in earlier episodic Torchwood. The Aliens Among Us story arc tackles a lot of issues in its story, but it's well written, unforced, and feels like a natural observation of a real world issue. And it doesn't tread lightly or shy away from showing us why there are issues. And part of its strength is that it manages to find comparisons between different things, events, and characters that are seemingly unconnected. The Aliens Among Us arc also finds various ways to progress the story, featuring many things that have become mainstream since Torchwood ended in 2011. One thing I noticed is that the first episode of the box set is too similar to the actual pilot of Torchwood Series 1. It contains everything you would need to know if you had never seen Torchwood before, exactly like a pilot episode. But despite starting the Aliens Among Us story arc, it does take a lot from the first episode of Torchwood Series 1, so much so that the first episode of Aliens Among Us is called Changes Everything, while the first episode of Torchwood on TV is called Everything Changes. Again, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's a good story, but it feels a little confusing listening to a pilot when you market the box set as the official Series 5 post-Miracle Day. The Aliens Among Us arc goes from strength to strength with box sets 2 and 3. Each of the stories in these box sets were to a very high standard. It actually started to feel like Children of Earth and Miracle Day with regard to the scale of the events, and because it's a situation that Torchwood has to deal with being in the public eye and having implications for everyday life. At the same time, each of the stories finds various and interesting different ways to progress the story, taking inspiration from many different sources. There are some great plot twists in the stories, and how the Torchwood team copes with the whole situation on top of where the team finds themselves after Miracle Day is also incredibly entertaining. Each of the new characters added get a lot of development in the stories here, but there is also plenty of time for other classic Torchwood characters, such as Reese and Sergeant Andy Davidson. It makes you feel like they haven't been forgotten about, and that they are just as integral to Torchwood even now, and adds to the authenticity of the box set. Box set 2 is notable for featuring Billis Manger, who appeared in Torchwood Series 1 on the cover. Here, his appearance is very comparable to his prior appearance, as this mysterious figure seemingly acting of his own accord and doesn't care about others. We didn't learn very much about him in his TV appearance, and the same as here. It's a very similar style, and they use him in a very similar way. Another notable return on the cover of these box sets is Yvonne Hartman from a brief appearance in Doctor Who Series 2. And for those of you who are confused about her appearance, it's well explained and enough to justify her involvement. And despite a late appearance in the Aliens Among Us story arc, she gets a lot of time, unlike Billis Manger's fleeting appearance, and we get to spend a lot of time seeing what she is like as a main character. As this is in a sense Torchwood Series 5, it certainly requires you to continue the story all the way through. After listening to the first box set, yes, the stories are good, but it's not enough as a one-time purchase. Pretty much every plot thread is unresolved, as there are still 8 episodes left in the series. Part 2 continues seamlessly from Part 1, and the box set ends much like the first, with no plot points resolved, and if anything there are even more plot threads added that continue to the third and final box set. It's clear that this entire story is meant to be listened to from the first box set to the last. Also, despite a solid finale episode that ties up some of the plot threads, it is concerned with setting up the next series. This is both a good and a bad thing. The good thing is that the story can continue in a way that hasn't happened in Torchwood before across a series. It would be as if Miracle Day actually had a direct follow-up, but the bad is that you can't fully appreciate the Aliens Among Us set as itself. You would need to listen to the God Among Us story arc 2, which is marketed as the official 6th series of Torchwood. It's great if you intend to continue listening, but a letdown if you wanted a full resolution. For an affordable standalone Torchwood story, it would be better to look at the collection of monthly adventures that are set at various points in the Torchwood continuity. In conclusion, it's a great series of Torchwood, but a bad sequel to Miracle Day if that's what you were expecting. The series is full of exciting stories, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to them all, but for me it loses points for not having an ending and making me feel like I need to keep listening for a full resolution. It's different from what I found listening to other Big Finish box sets, where you can appreciate a complete story regardless of what you listen to, even if you pick up one volume of a set. In a way, it has that in common with the unresolved cliffhanger of Miracle Day. So there we are, thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you click like and subscribe, and stay tuned for Time Lord Victorious reviews starting Wednesday. If you want to support our channel, you can do so by going to coffee.com/skybotfilm, where you can tip us the price of a coffee, and we'll be using this to get better equipment and make better videos for the channel. And with all that said and done, thanks very much for watching again. I'll see you next time. Bye.